Hey everyone, this is another typology interview. We have Jake here. How's it going, Jake?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Hi guys. How are
Yeah,
you?
thanks for coming out. I know you were having a little bit of doubts coming out because like you sort of disagreed with your type, which is fine. It's fine. It's perfect. And that's exactly what I want. I want some real cases out there so it's good. It's perfect.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to maybe sort of like challenging a little bit. I mean, I think it's almost entirely on me, the sort of mistyping thing, because one, I wasn't in a good place and I really sculpted that video. Like,
Okay. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
so yeah, it's with what I gave them, they did a damn good job, I think. But it was
Okay.
more
All
I
right.
got it sounds awful, but it's like I got the type that I wanted, not the type that
Wow.
I know that sounds really bad, but I don't know. I
That
felt
sounds
like
like some mad FE skills there, whatever you're doing. I don't
maybe.
know.
And like I remember being like when I got it back, I was like, yeah, this is so cool. And then I was like watching the video back, I was like, this is such a cool type. And I was like, oh no, but it's not me. Oh, oh no.
All right, so let's get into it. All right, so when did you start typology? When did you start all this?
I did it on a trip to France with a girlfriend, and her friend in the winter of 2015, and they
Okay,
were really into it. It's sort of just like the basic kind of human metrics sort of thing, and they're
right.
like take the test, and then we like ended up spending a lot of time on it over like the when we were driving around France, and then it kind of dissipated, came back, and then it sort of when like the functions, I discovered that I got kind of like a little more into it. Ended up taking like pretty big breaks from it. I'd always be like, oh, what am I doing? Am I wasting my time? And then I'd sort of be like, oh, this is actually quite interesting. And then you sort of
Right.
like, you know, all that. So yeah, it's sort of kind of on and off since then, but probably around last year when I went to a pretty tough time is when I sort of delved more into the community. I think you,
Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot. I hear that a lot. Yeah, when tough times and then you get into it because yeah,
yeah, like I think as well, like people were always on that sort of quest for sort of self-understanding and discovery, and it seems like an easier way to kind of learn your strengths and weaknesses without taking it too literally.
right. Yeah. Okay, and so what type did you put yourself as before you jumped in the class and stuff?
So, kind of all over so the first time I ever did it when it was just like a letters thing. First
Right.
time I ever did it, I got ENTP, and I was like, kind of makes sense,
Okay.
kind of. I mean, like, but I mean, this is like literal letters kind of thing, like
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I sort of got more into the functions, and I was like, maybe I'm not like NE, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. And then I sort of delved more into it, and I was like, I think I'm probably more in the NISE axis, maybe.
Really?
Um,
Hmm.
I mean, I'm still quite all over the place, to be honest, with a lot of, but I'm very singular in like my goals and all that.
Right. So,
Um,
okay. So what did you put yourself as then before you got typed?
I was always very vague about it. I never really felt 100% confident. Like
Right.
a lot of the time, if someone assumed something, I like, cause like people who were into it, I kind of was like, yeah, sure. I kind of like went along with it, I guess.
Right.
But um, I don't know. I've had some interesting ones that people thought, um, just very, very random, I guess.
Okay.
I know some of my friends thought ENTJ, and I was like, I don't think I have that demeanor at all. But it's just because like I did directing, I was quite like,
Right.
I'm quite sort of very time conscious and things like that, and I'm quite,
Okay.
but I don't know. I don't feel like I could have been comfortable really saying anything. But then OP sort of appeared, and then it was like jumpers, and I was like, I'm probably something in that if I've never felt terribly, sold on one thing in particular.
Right.
And yeah, but still, I guess figuring it out.
Yeah. I'm not getting blast last from you. Just putting that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm definitely blast consume for
Yeah.
sure. I think
Okay.
that's something that I feel very confident
Info
about.
dominant. Info dominant.
Yeah, like I know I have this like I'm like constantly taking in things, but never very well.
Okay.
Like I mean, I'll have like oh, it's just awful. I think on my phone I have something like 2,000 tabs open.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then like on my like when I have ideas, there's like hundreds and stuff. But I always get excited by it, and I immediately want to talk about it. Like I'll
Right.
sort of something, and then I'll be like, oh, this will be so much more exciting to talk about it. And then I've not like really gone in depth with it.
Right.
Um,
Okay, so what did you get your type back as then? Because I don't want to start talking about your functions because we don't really know what they are.
sure.
Yeah.
So Dave and Shannon, they gave me double feminine, TINI, sleep blast play.
Okay.
It's a pretty weird,
Yeah.
it's quite strange, yeah, because it's got like the double activated FE,
Right.
um, and then like sleep blast play seems to be a pretty chaotic, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like
There's been other sleep last plays. That's also I guess what Dave is also sleep last play.
yeah, yeah, he
Um.
is.
Um. Andreas is sleep last play. If you, I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen Andreas at all. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We spoke a bit because like
Okay.
he was type TISI, right?
Right. Yep.
And double
I don't
masculine.
think I don't know if he's double masculine. I know he has the masculine FE.
Yeah, the
Um,
masculine FE.
but maybe he is masculine SI. I don't know. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look.
I like him. He's a cool guy. I enjoyed
Yeah, yeah.
your.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So 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 like, do you resonate with that sleep blast? Like, do you resonate that you're sleep first? Does that make sense for you?
Well, I found it quite strange because like I think again I like the idea of like sleep because like but I don't know how true it is to myself. Like I'm a very outgoing person. I'm very
Right,
extroverted. Like I spend a lot of time with people.
right,
Um, but I mean I do spend a lot of time in my head. Like I feel like if I'm not being like really productive in like something more like whether it's like acting or music or something, then if there's some space, I'll just immediately go in my head.
and it also puts you as energy dominant. That type as well.
Over what? Energy
Over
over.
info dominant. Like, it puts you as like always trying to preserve energy and really picking where you spend it.
Yeah, see, that's something that I just don't really know about. I mean, like, I think
Okay.
my issue is I'm not terribly good at it. Like, I don't know, I posted like a type question thing yesterday. And like, I do have these I'm kind of expending energy, and then I have this huge crash that happens usually like every couple months where I kind of
Right.
need to take a little time to myself because there's always something, like I'm doing something.
Right.
Um, but I remember in like the Casey Neistat video, which they recommended I watch after they gave me my type, is that they said like a madman going around town, not consuming anything. So that
Right.
could possibly be connected to that, but I don't think I conserve it too much.
Right. What about lead TI? Does that make sense for you? Like, do you see that yourself as having basically tribe problems, self tribe problems all your life?
Not really. No, that was, I think, probably the biggest like, oh, there's something amiss here. I
Okay.
remember they also said I mean, because what are you? You're TI first as well,
TI,
right?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I remember they mentioned things about like having feeling lost and thinking that feelings are stupid and things like that. And I was like, oh, I don't know, not at all. I don't feel that. And I've never really had tribe issues. Like I was rebellious. Don't get me wrong. Like I've like had fallouts with people. I've had
Right.
like it, but it's nothing terribly imbalanced. It's never been.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's because I mentioned. Well, the thing is that they really saw was they thought I was double observing in the middle.
Right.
Because I remember they were like, "Oh, the questions have changed," but I was calm about it. But I had actually pre-prepared it. I just didn't want to see too uptight,
Right.
uh,
Okay.
which was kind of a
But
big
I mean,
swing.
even a lead EP wouldn't really care if the questions change, like an EP.
Well, yeah, yeah. I guess. Well, I said like they thought that that was more, I guess, observing. I don't know why
Yeah.
where they did mention it though. Um,
What about your upbringing and stuff? Did you have an okay upbringing, like, or
yeah, yeah. I was very lucky. I had a single mother. Um, we traveled a lot. So I
right?
mean, I did spend quite a lot of time. I was always kind of like researching things, and I spent a lot of time with adults. But I was always, as soon as I had anything, I wanted to perform it, or I wanted to show it off, or I wanted to be like,
Right.
look at this thing that I've learned, or I've sort of very much into the entertaining thing. And I was very much like that in school. I used to be quite studious in the first few years, and then I realized that I enjoyed making people laugh far more than studying because school became slow. And
Right.
in Britain, specifically, like I went to a boarding school that became awful. Um,
Okay. Why was it awful? What was wrong with it?
well, I mean, it was an all boys boarding school. It was extremely old fashioned. it was very, very by the book. Like it was also not artistic at all. It was a sports school. So they
Wow.
didn't have much art programs. Everyone felt so, I don't know, it was not everyone, but a lot of the people, they already knew what universities they were going to go to. They were going to go into their dad's business. Like it was not very individualistic, which I guess is an IP-ish thing, but I felt more at odds with the system rather than anyone individually.
That's what I'm
Uh,
getting now. Yeah. Okay.
but I've also, because like I do like doing my own thing, um, like not being too restrained by it, I guess. But I had a lot of friends like outside of school. Like I was
Mhm.
like a chaotic student. I like never really did much. I sort of skipped school. I winged my exams. But then outside, I would be like organizing bands and sort of like planning like albums or like gigs and things like that. Even on like MMOs that I used to play, I would like be like a guild leader and I would have all that organized, and then I'd come in and be this complete mess in school, who just because I didn't care really about it.
Right. Do you feel like you're missing information a lot of the time as well? Like, do you feel like you have tidal waves in that?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, sometimes, quite a common sort of tidal wave for me is like it's usually like having to slow down and actually do the nitty gritty stuff. Like it's often like um paperwork is kind of the bane of my existence. Like I try to do business to sort of maintain myself out here, but
Right.
oh my god, like every time there's some sort of visas things or selling it, having to sort of go back and actually finding time to sort of sit down, go through all of this extremely tedious thing, getting all of these like the correct documents, the correct kind of that's just that will drain me quicker than anything.
Right. Okay.
Um, because like I'm quite go go go, you know. But in terms of other things, like I do tend to sort of hoard a lot of information. Like I'm always curious about things. I'm like doing things with other people. I'm always kind of vaguely looking at something interesting, which will lead to something. But it's always for like, what can I use for like what will actually benefit? It's sort of quite mechanical, I guess. It's sort of like taking pieces that will help in the long run, but not going into too much detail with them
Right. I get you.
because of
Um,
making it.
yeah, that makes sense. What about pleasing other people and validation, desire for validation and things like that?
I mean, I do. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, like when you have like the arts, like a lot of it is you are nervous about it because you're really kind of putting yourself out there.
Right.
You're doing something very raw, whether it's music or acting. So like you do kind of like the validation isn't what you're necessarily seeking, but it's always nice.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I got the same thing. Yeah.
I do I do love like I love parties. I love hosting parties. I love like creating an atmosphere. I love like getting everyone in, like not necessarily controlling it, but like shaping it a little bit for sure. Like I like doing playlists for people and tweaking things. So I mean that's possibly some sort of
A little bit of tribe. Yeah.
the tribe thing, but I
Yeah.
mean I don't know. I've never really felt that. I remember there's that. I don't know if you felt this with your IP thing, the like me against the world thing. I've never really felt that. I've always been pretty
Yeah.
involved, I guess, except when I'm like really depressed and I'm just like,
I
or whatever.
I feel it like if maybe I think about it and focus on it, then yeah, maybe I feel it about it. And then whenever I'm having a tidal wave, I'm definitely feeling that me against the world thing
Oh,
for
really? Like,
sure.
what are some
Yeah.
of your like? Well, what's your like exact type?
It's just an ISTP basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
MF.
MF.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, what are some of like your tidal waves, just sort of in comparison, I guess?
Not being aware of tribe feelings or tribe values and having that crash down on me, like just generally,
Oh, really?
without getting into too many specifics. I could send you some like a typing video and stuff after if you're really interested.
Cool. Yeah, I'd be really curious to see
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, like I do get that. It's not something that's constant. It's not something that's always there, but it's something that like if I think about it, yeah, that's what it feels like, and especially in tidal
interesting.
waves. But so like you don't get that in tidal waves, I guess.
I mean, not really. Like,
Right.
I'm quite conscious of like I get it's just funny like the TI. FE or TEFI thing. It's not like I don't really think about my identity that much. I don't really think about how
Right.
I fit in. Like I never really. It's not really something I like have like thought about. Like how do I fit in with this group? I think I'm pretty malleable. Like in certain groups, I'll fit different roles. Like I'll
Right.
maybe more of a like a leadership role or like a funny guy role. And I have quite a. I mean, I've got quite a dark sense of humor, but like I always try and read the room. Like I remember
Uh-huh.
I dated someone, and she would always be just saying things pretty quite sort of inflammatory things, and I would always be like, well, we don't know where this person is from. It might like it could affect them, and then sure enough, someone would get offended, and they'd be like, oh no, and then chaos would often come of it. I think she was undeniably a decider, or just extremely punchy with the tribe. But I don't know. I think that's another thing that I do agree with Shave. I think I'm quite feminine with the tribe.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty good with it. Like I'm pretty laid back with things like that. I mean, I can be quite controlly when it's sort of like, getting stuff done, making things go.
Right.
Like when the plan is sort of enacting things, but like I don't feel terribly like
So you think
that's
you
wrong.
seriously, which it sounds like you're a bit more MF than FF.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Well, because FF would be,
Tester.
uh, yeah. Um, I don't know actually. I mean, I think I'm definitely visual in my learning thing.
Okay.
So,
All right. So you could be FF.
I don't. Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I'm very open to it because it's still difficult to completely
Yeah.
um understand yourself. Like maybe I am a little like punchier. Maybe I'm.
Right.
So,
And I am getting NI. I don't know if it's savior demon or whatever, but I do see the NI. I see.
oh,
Yeah. At
NISE.
first,
Okay.
yeah, at first when you were saying ENTP, I thought, okay, you might be NE, but I'm getting more NI. But I don't know. Like I'm really bad at typing people, but I'm just yeah.
Me too. Like I tried like help as best I can, and then I'm like,
Right.
oh no, I was way off
But
apparently.
it sounds like that like you do have a truth, like your identity is truth, and you have your own personal truth, like that you think is objective truth. Is that wrong to say?
I mean, kind of. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's not values. It's you don't have like your values are more objective, are more like with society and things like that, rather than
possibly.
personal.
I mean, I don't know. There's, I mean, it's sort of different, I guess, because when it's sort of we're talking about like politics or like the big sort of things, I'm very kind of. It's yeah, I guess it's sort of more being wary of sort of things looking at things at different angles, understanding why some people believe certain things and all that. But with my own like really deep beliefs, with my own ideas, it could be, I guess, more reasons. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel very emotionally connected though to a lot of my like plans and things like that.
Right.
Like my ideas, which are sort of I sort of keep building on and building on, are very. There's a lot of me in them. It's a lot of it. There's a lot of
That's NI. You're describing NI. Yep.
driving in. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of feeling behind it. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah, yeah. It's
connection
very
to it.
personal, and you and same thing. Dave was just saying. I was just watching a class where it's really personal. He doesn't want to let people see it until he knows it's real, until he knows it matches
Right,
reality. Yeah, because reality
right.
could change and it could just be wrong. Yeah.
And yeah, and that can be quite frustrating because you kind
Right.
of it's like a child. Like you nurture this thing and you start building on it, and it's almost it's the double-edged sword of the more you put in it, the more you develop it, the more concrete and visually it's there, the more difficult it is to actually materialize
Mm.
because it becomes more and more kind of harder to tweak because when an idea is sort of in its sort of infancy,
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kind of
Unformed.
when unformed when you start like creating it or with like scripts, like when things go wrong, it's not the end of the world. Like it hurts that you can't use the correct, you can't say it's like a
Right.
film. Maybe like some of the lighting you can't get or the right actors to get, and that really really used to irk me when I was
Right.
first starting. But because we were forced to make ideas quickly, we weren't as attached to them as say like a project that I've been sort of gestating for 6 years,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I got
which
you.
is it's so vivid and clear, and I could tell you everything about it, and I could tell you like the 4 years of what it is and the style and the aesthetic. But actually looking at a script when I'm typing it out, I'm like, no, that doesn't work. No, 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 and it
Like
becomes
actually
so hard
defining it.
to figure
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. Trying
Oh
to
God,
define that NI, when as soon as you define it, it just loses, it loses its majesty. It loses what it's really
for
supposed to be.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And it's sort of like I think NI. I don't know if it's like a is your NI masculine or feminine?
Mine is feminine. Um but it's, I've compared it with other people and it's more masculine than every feminine I've met, but then I think it's also
Okay,
more feminine than some of the masculines I've met. So,
masculine.
yeah.
Because like I think the NI is a strange thing because it's sort of in a sense it's like a manifestation of like one's kind of mind in a sense with the idea. It's so goddamn complicated. It's so weird.
Right.
Um, but like I was just curious about like the differences in masculine and feminine
Right.
NI. Um, so I'm kind of pondering on it. I'm
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
getting going into it too much. This is
So I just had, like, just yesterday with Raja. He has feminine NI, and he was just going on and on about how feminine his was. Um, I wasn't that, and also mine is more feminine as well, but it's not as feminine as his, I think.
oh really?
Yeah. Um, but uh,
Oh,
um, I've seen it more as like, you have a plan, and your plan is either, is either fixed, and you know what your NI is, you know what your concepts are, they're well defined, or it's more like, flowy and watery and can change and adapt, and it's not stuck on any single idea. And they are well defined, even though it's feminine. My concepts are quite well defined, but then when you ask me to actually define them, like put them into the SE, then I'll be like, no, I don't want to do that, because they're it loses value, like it loses, I don't know, it loses meaning when you try to define it.
right.
Yeah. So I don't
That's
know. Yeah.
that's very interesting because I feel almost kind of an opposite in that
Okay.
like my idea is very concrete. Like my ideas
Concrete.
are I can see them very, very clearly. But I don't mind tweaking it because like I'm always very curious about new things and I'm always
Right.
like, I could use this. I could take some of this. Um, but when I sort of like am speaking it out, like some of the time I don't want to completely bore someone with it because,
Right.
um, but if someone was to ask me like describe it like visually, describe like a plot line, a character thing, I could do it I think pretty comfortably.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
so
I
mine feels similar to yours then, because like mine is also well defined in that way. Like I do have well defined concepts that I can bring out that way. But it feels like, if you ask me in relation to something else, it's, I don't know, whatever. It's weird, but I do resonate with what you're saying. So I don't
yeah,
know. Yeah. So you might be sort of in the middle as well. Um, like
possibly.
less polar with your masculine and feminine on your NISE.
I mean, I'm still a little I'm still a little see I can talk about it, but it's actually creating it in like it's sort of hard to explain. Like, well, I could tell you about like the characters and the concepts quite easily.
Right.
The idea of actually writing like a piece of music for that thing, I find challenging because I can hear it, but then it's all the struggles of actually putting it on to recording it or actually composing something that's correct for it because it
Getting that
doesn't
SE out. Yeah.
that doesn't feel right. And I guess
Right.
that's maybe feminine SE, not
I don't
being
know.
able um like it
What?
just sort of feels wrong, like it never quite settles with the like the concreteness of the idea that everything out feels like it's when it's materialized it's not as solid, it feels weak, the idea feels less strong and it's sort of quite deterring because of that.
How do you feel about objects around you and your surroundings? Do you feel like you know, they're static and they're there, or do you feel like you can just move them? And like, if you want to walk somewhere and there's a chair in your way, will you walk around the chair, or will you move the chair to get through it? You know what I mean?
I mean, probably, what would I do? Probably walk around it, I guess. I mean, that's a really interesting question because, like, I find if there's too much like of anything, if there's too much like clutter or noise, or I can't do anything. Like, it
Right.
literally just completely overwhelms me. Um, like I'm in it's like my roommate's room at the moment. Just because we're just downsizing everything. Um, and it's very messy. And like at first, I was like, I can't think. Like I don't know how I'm going to do this interview, but I'm just trying to find ways to kind of block some of it out. Um,
Hmm.
that's interesting. I don't know. I'm really sensitive to like smells and things like that. Like I can't sleep if there's like a weird smell somewhere. Like if it's from outside. Like I live in Hollywood, so there's a lot of weird noises and everything.
Right.
Um, and like I have to sleep with like earplugs because like I can't. I'm like, oh god. Um, that's an interesting thing I didn't really think about. Um, yeah, it's like if I'm playing like a video game with like my friends and they'll like put like music on and it's like a little bit too loud, I won't be able to like play properly. I'll be like, there's too much going on kind of
Yeah,
around me. I
yeah, I
don't
get that. Do you think maybe your consume might be last? Like, do you think Dave was right in his in the animals at least, Dave and Shannon?
I think if I'm on the NISE axis, yes. I think consume probably is last.
Okay.
Um, I think whatever it is it's some kind of
Because like what it's sounding like is like they might have gotten you right. They just put you as TI instead of NI. Like just a little bit of a shift.
really? Oh, maybe. I just because like again, I don't feel like feeling or people. That's like an issue at all, really, for me.
Right. So if you were lead NI, that would be okay.
That
You would have the double deciders, and then you'd be just be NITI instead of TINI.
NITI. How does that fit? That's very interesting. Because because like I was thinking like for like a long time, I was like maybe I have to be like because I feel I'm quite a feely person, and I was like maybe I'm like FI or whatever or this, and
Right.
but maybe I mean that would be NITI, FE double activated, both in the middle. Hmm.
Are you aware of your likes and dislikes? Are you aware of your values?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I do know what I like and dislike. Like sometimes it's just sometimes there's not a lot of reason behind it, and I feel like oftentimes when people ask me, I feel the need to give them reasons. Like if
Right.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
like watching a film and I don't like it, and then someone is like, "What did you like it?" I'll be like, "Not really," and then they'll be like, "Why?" And then I'm like, "Oh crap." Well, I felt like this character wasn't doing this
Oh, that's
and that,
interesting.
um, or trying to look for like those sort of things. But I mean, I feel like I could change my opinion if someone gives like a really good point. I'll sort of ponder it and be like, well, maybe that actually kind of makes some sense. Um, but it definitely changes. Like there's things that I was like, oh, I don't like this, and then I sort of grew to love. It's actually something very interesting. This is something that my ex always used to point out was I like love the idea of traveling. I love the idea of going to new places. But as soon as I try anything new, I'm immediately like, oh no, I'm not going to like this. Oh, what have I done? Anxiety. I don't like this. And then like a day in, I'm like, oh no, actually maybe I do like this. I do like this. And it's sort of I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, that's more like an SE. Okay. That's more like an okay. I get that.
Um,
Yeah. Like liking it in an SE, not in an FI way, I guess.
well, maybe. I mean, like sometimes I mean, when I went to, well, there's sometimes I just will immediately like something. Like when I went to Paris last year, like it really just spoke to that poetic side to me. I was like, wow, it's just, but sometimes like going into like, I remember I went to, I surprised my girlfriend going to see a musical and I'd never seen it before. And then I was like, oh no, it's like 3 hours long. What have I done? What have I done? And then like 30 seconds in, I was like, oh my God, like overwhelmed with sort of like emotion. And I was like, oh
Okay.
my God, it's beautiful. And I was like,
Right.
well, I was wrong about my sort of,
What about like values? Like if I were to ask you about abortion or something like that, do you have a well-formed opinion on abortion or
I mean, yes, I do. I mean, like, should I get into stuff like this? Is that all right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's quite incendiary. I don't want to like.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, maybe we should ask for something a little less. But like, do you have a strong opinion over it? Like,
Yeah, I do. I genuinely do. I mean,
is it based on reasons based, or is it just value based?
yeah.
Or
Well, that's an interesting thing. I mean, me personally, I mean, I'm not a woman, so I don't feel like I should be making the decisions for. I don't
right,
think it should be down to me to tell someone that they can or can't do something. And there's so many variables in it. Like, I mean, who am I to tell someone that they can't do something like that? Because sure, like I mean, like it's an uncomfortable area. Like it's sort of debating whether like is it a life, is it not? There's a lot of things like that. But at the end of the day, it's not my body. Um, and I don't feel like I should be telling anyone that they can't do something with it. I mean, there's also like there's a really sorry, this is going really.
yeah, go for
Um,
it.
there's a really interesting. It's like a little sort of a hypothetical story about asking people like a pro-choice or pro-life question, because a lot of people who are on the pro-life thing, they always are like, well, it's got a life, it's already, and you could sort of be like, well, you can take a lot of points about why that isn't technically considered one. But anyway, the hypothetical story is you're in a fertility clinic and you go into a room and it's burning down and
Yeah,
it's being destroyed and you only have an option to you can only save one of these things. Do you save 2,000 fertilized eggs
right.
or five
Or five what?
or a 5-year old?
Or 5 year old? Yeah, right,
Yeah. So it's kind of like, do you save like 2,000 lives which have not,
right,
or the one solid thing that
right,
is kind of, and
right.
it's. I mean, most people pick the 5-year old. I don't think
Yeah,
I.
right.
So it's sort
Yeah.
of. I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was FETETEFI or
Well,
something.
you did give a lot of reasons, and you were but yeah, it's interesting.
But was that external reasons or personal reasons? That's the thing, right? It's
Right. Yeah, yeah.
damn this
Um,
OP.
yeah, but like you are balanced. I see you're. I don't know. Are you able to do like characters and stuff? Like go back and forth with yourself and characters, and go back and forth
I mean,
between
yeah,
seeing
I think
yourself and
so.
seeing others?
I think so, pretty
Yeah,
comfortably. Like, I mean, like
yeah,
the thing is, like, I love jokes. I love joking with people, but I like it when people can throw it back. Like,
right.
if someone can like, if I say something like harsh or like, and they can just volley it right back at me, and I'll be like, damn, well played. Like, I like that. And I mean, like, I think characters is kind of I mean, I can sort of play like, being more serious and taking myself, and I can just like absolutely take the piss out of myself. Like, that's possibly like a cultural thing because like I'm originally from Scotland, and it's
Okay.
all about this. The whole thing is about making fun of everything, making fun of yourself. So it's, I mean, like obviously not everyone is like that, but like it's quite a big part of our culture to be. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're not going to survive well in Scotland.
Right. I do want to wrap it up, but like you could be INTJ as well. Yeah, I get the lead NI. That I
Oh,
do
really?
get. Yeah, the rest I'm probably not the best person to ask. I need to practice more with typing people, but you could be also be INTJ because you did say you are clear on what you like. You I did hear you use I like language as well.
I mean,
And you are NT. So if you were INTJ, maybe you'd be blast first. I don't know.
oh, you think I'm NT?
Yeah, I am getting more NT than NF,
Okay, okay, interesting. I
but
mean,
again, that's could just be your blast NT. I don't know.
right, right. I don't think I'm missing blast. I think it's something I can be pretty comfortable with.
Right,
And
and I think the next question you should ask yourself is if you're self over tribe or tribe over self. Um,
yeah, that I think that's such a tough question. Like,
yeah.
I would sort of what is it? Is it day? Is it? Do they use the thing and it's like, are you more like? Oh no, that's the more like FITI FET. I don't know. The tribe above self thing is tough, very very tough. So if you wanted to wrap it up, I don't want to because this is I don't know.
No, we'll wrap it up. Like I just wanted to like sort of end it after this. So yeah, go for it. Tell me about your self over tribe or tribe over self.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I spend so much time with people and I like doing things with it, but how much of it is actually for more sort of selfish not necessarily selfish, because like you can be tribe over self and not be like, obviously.
This is something that Dave said to me as well. He said that the tribe, like the tribe people, like the lead DEs, are some of the most selfish people in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
like because
I,
they're doing it for selfish reasons as well. Like I mean, it's anecdotal, but like it doesn't like the reason and the goal isn't really what makes you DE or DI. Yeah, because actually the DI, the goal for me is to bring my identity to the tribe, and the goal for DE is to find their, I don't know, find their own identity in some way through the tribe.
oof. Yeah. Oh God. I mean, like I feel. Hmm. I think I'm quite possibly, if I'm being like trying to look at myself like trying to be sort of like impartial and being honest with myself, I think I'm probably self above tribe,
Right.
which again would, I guess, would mean lead sleep.
Right.
Um, but I mean, then there's that double activation of like, with blast.
A blast, double activated blast. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And
because like,
then energy dominant. You said you didn't really resonate with being energy dominant, but
well, yeah, that's the other funny thing. I mean, I mean, I do think it's important. Like, I mean, I try and meditate in the morning, but my mind is often kind of already sort of quite scattered and all that. Well, not scattered, but it's sort of always like, well, what are we doing? So when I'm like, I've got to kind of find myself, calm down, but it's like, let's go, go, go. But I mean, I do like getting up earlier. I like being able to take that time, just like an hour to myself, I guess, which I guess could be sleep. I mean, it's a very kind of small section of the day. Like it's a
Mhm.
very, but I mean, I'm living with people at the moment who as soon as I get up, I'm kind of like cooking breakfast for them, getting stuff like that. Just because I want to like, give that push and pull. Because they're being nice to me and like giving me like easy living, and I want to, clean and give them. So it's, again, it feels very balanced in that regard.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
but damn, I don't know.
Well, I'll post the video. We'll see what people say in the
Yeah,
comments, and we'll
yeah,
see what people answer in Facebook and on YouTube and stuff. And
for sure, for sure.
there's
Oh,
yeah,
I was
and
gonna say I
maybe
already feel a little guilty because I posted a video yesterday. I'm sure they'll be getting sick of my face, but at least this one I've got the hair down, so I don't look too simple. Maybe.
it's all right. Yeah. So anyway, you have things that you're working on. You said you don't really have anything to promote, but like, do you have anything? Well, if you have something, we'll talk about it. We'll put it in the description. But you do music and you're
Cool.
acting, and you have an agent or something?
No, not at the moment. I'm
Not at
still
the
kind
moment.
of, I don't know. Again, I'm so particular about getting it as fine tuned as possible. But
Right.
yeah, I'll send you some things probably in like
Sure.
few days,
Yeah.
weeks down the line, and then maybe. And I really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Good luck with all that, and have a good one.
Cool. Thank you. See you,
Bye.
man.